Jag råkade bara köra förbi.
Vilken överraskning.
När jag var liten trodde jag att jag var något speciell. Sen blev jag vuxen och fattade att jag är bara människa. Ful och konstig människa med kromosomfel.
Det är väl inget väl på dig. Det är mycket du inte känner till. Hur fick vi det där?
Det här? Vem är jag?
Du ska inte lyssna för mycket på vad människor säger.
I hela mitt liv så var det ingenting.
Stanna, polis!
Hi.
Hi,
Welcome to Movie Humpers. My name is Bob Sham.
I'm Angela.
The sounds you hear may be dogs.
Yes.
We're talking about a movie today.
We are.
We usually do that at least 3 days a week.
At least.
Yeah, we do it a lot. We've been through a lot of movies.
This was a...
This was a randomly generated movie review that we're discussing today. And we pulled up because our theme for this March is women in crisis.
Yes.
And we're going to be watching a lot of dramas.
Yes.
Figured we'd randomly generate a drama as opposed to just randomly generating anything and then we end up watching like Trolls World Tour or something.
Gross.
But we got different trolls, apparently. Yeah. Cause we watched the 2018 Swedish film directed by Ali Abbasi called Border. In Swedish, it's called Grans. It's based on a book and co-written by the same guy that wrote Let the Right One In, John Ajvide Lindqvist, also co-written by Ali Abbasi and Isabella Aklef, starring Eva Melander, Eero Milanov, Jorgen Thorsen, and Ann Petrin, amongst others. And this is one of those patient movies, one of those weirdly quiet movies. I don't know if it struck me as much as some other scenic patient movies might do so. I actually didn't think this movie was very scenic, though slow, though paused.
I don't think it was as much about the scenery as it was about how she felt when she was in the woods.
Yeah,
It was all about emotions and feelings.
Yeah, she's isolated. She's emotionally alone. This lady, she looks like, I said before going into this movie that they were cave people.
Yes.
And she kind of looks almost like Neanderthalish.
Yes, she has a very pronounced like forehead and nose and maybe like rough skin and hair.
Little furry.
Like a little dry seeming or leathery.
Looks like she has dense skin. I saw the actors without the makeup on.
Oh.
I mean, they just look like normal people.
Totally.
Right?
The makeup was excellent in this film. I think. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, that doesn't look real.
And it doesn't seem to come off in the water because they were swimming around.
They were swimming around.
So this lady looks like a cave woman, and she works for the Border Patrol. She lives with this guy named, what is that fucker's name?
It's Roland in the
Roland.
movie.
Roland was so over the top scuzz ridiculous.
Yeah.
I almost want like a Roland spin-off series.
About
like,
him showing his Rottweilers.
Showing his Rottweilers. He's got these 3 Rottweilers.
The dogs don't like her.
She seems to be good with every other wild animals, but domestic animals don't seem to like her.
Yep.
In this case being dogs.
And 3 of them live at her house. It's her house.
And yeah, this guy doesn't do it. He just goes and drives and shows his Rottweilers, and they don't seem to like her very much.
Yeah.
And
he cooks and she doesn't seem to eat his food very much, and she's drinking like a protein shake.
They share a bedroom, but they have separate beds like the Flintstones.
But they're like all the way to the opposite sides of the room.
They're supposed to be in a relationship.
Maybe.
I interpret it as yes, but it's just kind of dead.
Yeah, I think it's, as we get to know them more, I think that they tried, maybe.
Yeah.
But it never manifested because they really can't consummate, because she talks about how
It hurts.
it hurts. Like, she, as we get to know her, we find out that she feels that she is deformed down there, that she can't have children, and that sex hurts her. So there is a point where he crawls in her bed. I mean, he drinks a lot. So, like, he's being a little, like, aggressive, but he basically is like, I like you so much. Like, just let me. And she's like, fucking get off of me.
He's comically scuzzy to me.
He is, because he's
over
also talking
the
to people
top.
on the phone that seems like it's probably other girls.
She comes into the house once and he's fooling around with somebody.
Oh, right, and she just walks
She
out.
just leaves.
Mm-hmm.
He's going off to show the dogs, and then he's talking on the phone. He doesn't even
Don't you
wait.
miss me?
Yeah, he doesn't even wait to get in the car. Like, there's no hiding. Like, if you're having some kind of,
See, but that's why I think it's like, they're basically, it's almost like, to me, it seemed more like a friends with benefits situation. She goes to visit her father in a nursing home at one point, and he asks how it's going with Roland, and she's like, I mean, it just is what it is. And he says, I just don't want him taking advantage of you, because he does live there seemingly rent-free, not contributing at all, and just trying to fuck her.
So she works for the Swedish Border Patrol, and she has an ability. She can smell the way people feel. If they're trying to lie or have a little fear or trying to get away with something,
They're anxious or mad.
she can sense that.
Yeah.
So she will stop people and see and go through their stuff and sees things. And she's got like a little helper who just kind of, everyone that works with her knows, like,
They trust her instincts 100%.
no one can really explain how or why she does it, but they just accept that she can do it. And one guy gets searched. He seems to be like this, almost like a business looking man. It seems like he's got nothing. And then she's like, I want to see your phone. And then she opens it up and there's a chip in the back of the holder case. And then he grabs the chip and starts to swallow it.
Yeah.
And we have no idea. Like, we didn't even know what he was trying to swallow at first.
And and truly all the men know, like, so one of her helper guy, he calls another guy and they like wrestle him to the floor and get it out of his mouth. They don't know either. She doesn't know either. She just knows it's something bad. And then the fact that he tried to swallow it means it is something bad. And so now it's, what is that he trying to sneak over the border?
So they later inform that little digital card was full of child pornography.
I liked the scene where the woman who, it was unclear to me if it was police force or if it was also like border police. I'm not sure, but the woman who was in charge of the mission of trying to like capture these child pornographers.
I think they were working together.
Yeah, they actually, without it being too, now we're going to lay out what the deal is with Tina, that Tina's her name, the main character. She starts asking her questions like, how did you know to look for this? How did you, and Tina's just kind of explaining like, first she's just like, I can sense it. And then basically she's like, I can smell it.
Yeah.
On them. And so they explain it in a way that doesn't feel too like, and now we're going to tell you the plot. So I thought that was really good. And basically the woman is like, we need you to help us because they know the area of town, but they can't figure out who or what apartment.
Or where this is coming from. Well, meanwhile, one day, another person comes to the Border Patrol to go through, and they have the same features as Tina. And Tina's very struck by him. Tina's always got this kind of expression of like confusing. She's
Her mouth
confused
is
when
always
he's
a little
around.
open too,
Yeah.
like, 'cause she's always kind of smelling. And they didn't explain this specifically in the movie, but I read that one of the reasons he throws her off, not only because he looks like her, it's that she can't smell his feelings.
Right. They kind of cancel.
So he's a mystery to her. So she basically like is like, we got to search you because I don't know what's up with you.
Yeah. Apparently they can't read each other the same way they can read a human.
Yeah.
Ooh.
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 You already said the T word earlier.
Yeah. And so this guy, he is essentially appears to be a lot like her.
Yeah.
And he goes to, and she can't sense, so she's just searching, and he's got like these like larvae incubators in his shit. And
He's got bugs.
We see her like holding a bug early on and then putting it back.
But it just looks like she's like enamored with it. We just see her with animals. She has a relationship with a fox and a moose. And so at that moment, you just think she's just looking at this bug.
He immediately comes off like he's grinning. He's almost like leering. He looks kind of genuinely creepy, but he also seems like extremely confident in himself and whatever he's doing. Like he kind of has this I don't give a fuck kind of mentality. Yeah. But he immediately seems enamored by her, and she's enamored too, I think, but she's just like completely thrown off her whole sensibilities.
Absolutely, because she's never met anyone who's anything like her, and the fact that she can't smell him, like I think it genuinely freaks her out, because she also is like, if I could understand him or what his deal is, then maybe I could understand what the fuck is up with me. But she doesn't. She's very, like you said, she's very standoffish.
So he comes through again, and they end up searching. He accepts a strip search. They think he's got something, and come to find out, he appears to have female sex organs and a big scar going up his back. She also,
it's like at the base of his spine.
She also has the exact same scar.
Yes, because we've seen her swimming. There's like a swimming place where she goes, and she'll go out and just be nude in the woods. And you can tell that's where she's like the most comfortable. Yeah. She doesn't seem uncomfortable, but it just looks awkward, like with her wearing regular clothes.
She's starting to get to know this dude, and it's arranged that she lives in like a little hostel, like he's living in a hostel.
Yeah, she goes to visit him, and she finds him like in the woods next to the hostel, and he's picking maggots, and he offers her one to eat, and she's like, no, that's gross. And he's like, you know you want to. And he eats one, and he gives her one, and she's like, oh my God.
So that's a thing. Like, they like to eat bugs and shit. So he's staying at this place. I think doesn't he go somewhere other than the hostel?
Well, he goes to stay in her guest house. Right. So she's
got some buildings.
She has like her main house where she lives with Roland, and then there's a little tiny house, like a grandmother's house on the back. It's really just like a hot plate and a very small fridge, and a bed. That's pretty much all that's in there. It's like a small room house.
We watched this dude give birth to something. Yeah. And he puts it in a box and puts it in the refrigerator.
And tapes the fridge closed. And she at one point comes in and is like, what'd you do to the fridge? And he's like, some people need privacy sometimes. And doesn't explain it to her. But he is also kind of at this point, they're going out in the woods together. They're talking more to each other. She's getting to know him more. You feel from her that she's like falling for him. You kind of get that. Roland is grossing her out even more, and she just wants him to leave. And when he is gone, they just immediately like take their clothes off and start running through the woods.
Roland, just turn the TV down. Just turn the TV down, Roland.
Yeah.
He does explain to her then what they are.
He does. He explains to her that there's nothing wrong with her, that she is a troll, and
that humans are the scum of the earth.
Yes, humans are the scum of the earth, and is it in the same conversation where they fuck? Because I think it is. Like, then it becomes this thing where they approach each other. It's very animalistic. It's very like, I can't, like, they're not even kissing exactly on each other's mouths.
They're just like shoving each other's open mouths against each other.
It's so like frantic, and it's like they're hungry for each other. And she ends up pulling her pants down and basically
describe in vivid detail what happens here.
What I'm going to say is she pulls her pants down. He pulls his pants down. He appears to have female genitalia, quote unquote. She seemingly, her clit grows into a penis-like probing situation.
Oh, yeah.
And so she fucks him.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Did you chub out?
I will say, this was very erotic because of how, not like that part, I was like, whoa, what's happening? But,
their connection.
Their connection was hot. Like, it was.
So you chubbed?
I mean.
You chubbed a little.
Maybe maybe a little.
Wow.
It was when they wanted each other so much, and it was like electric. Oh, that's another thing. One of the moments before they came together like that, they both get scared, and he's out in the guest house, and she's in the main house, and Roland has left. There's a thunderstorm, a lightning storm.
Lightning is drawn to them.
And he runs into the house, and they crawl under the table and hold each other. That's like the first time they're that close.
You see sparks too, like lightning hit their house.
She's like unplugging everything before he comes in. They've talked before. He's got like a thing on his shoulder, and she's got a thing on her forehead. They've both been struck by lightning. That's
the coolest thing you would get. If you survive a lightning strike, you get a rad looking scar.
Then they both had them, and he tells her, he's like, okay, so we're trolls. They eat bugs.
People can make wishes on our bellies.
That is not something that he said.
We have big hair.
He did have like a round belly. Lightning is attracted to them.
We watched trolls band together with our little cousins, and it was nothing like this.
Nothing at all like this. No.
It was totally different. Trolls band together. Not an unpleasant movie, by the way.
No, it was fun.
Kind of fun.
It was fun, especially seeing it with the kids.
Yeah.
It was real fun.
That was a good, but no. Which trolls do you prefer, truly?
These ones.
No, I'm the band together. I get to roll with Sparkle and shit and be in a...
Okay.
You prefer these trolls even at the end?
No.
Think about the whole story. Think about the story of Trolls, Trolls World Tour, and Trolls Band Together. And you're not going to live in the magical glittery world. You're going to live in this... You're going to get your head ripped off by Vor.
Okay, I'm going to live in... Yes, I would prefer to live in Magic Glittery World, but I think this movie was really good. And yes, I don't... At the end, no, I do not like Vor. But let's talk about why. So they're together. They're in love. So meanwhile... She is helping this investigation to find these pedophiles, and she actually figures out what the apartment is, but this couple comes to the door, and they look like totally normal man and wife couple, and the guy that's her, like, partner in this is like, sorry, we didn't mean to bother you, but she's like, there's something happening in there. She could hear a baby crying. She's like, they are doing things to children.
There's no children registered to that couple.
Yeah, so they look that up, and they go to their boss, and she's like, I know it's this apartment, and he's like, I looked it up. There should be no children in that apartment. And so they do go and arrest those people. And I did really enjoy is such a terrible way to say that. I thought it was interesting that she then also was like in the interrogation room with them to tell the woman when they were lying. Like they just 1000% believe her because she's right every time. You know, like why wouldn't you believe her even though it seems like so implausible that you could smell someone's feelings. But come to find out, they get the guy and the girl. The guy tries to deny it up and down.
They find the camera.
They find the camera with his fingerprints on. Oh, yeah, because they sneak into the apartment at one point. There's like a crib in there. There's like videos. It's so fucked up and so upsetting. And
just the implications.
I know. Yes.
Are disturbing itself.
It fucks me up. And I really wonder. So, you know, Let the Right One In is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I love Let the Right One In.
So far, our highest rated vampire film.
There is, and may stay there, there is kind of a subplot of the man who is taking care of her being a pedophile.
Right.
He kills children. He's attracted to her because she's a child.
She's also scarred because she's
also scarred
mutilated.
Because she was castrated. So they were castrated when they were young. I don't know because I haven't read this book. I mean, I've seen this movie. I haven't read other books by this author, but it does seem to be, and I totally get this, his thing seems to be, there are monsters in the world, but these are the bigger monsters, right?
Yeah.
Like the pedophiles.
The humans that interact with them are worse.
They're absolutely worse. And the thing with this movie, so they get the woman to break down and tell them, you know, there is a man who brings the children, but they don't know who that is still. Meanwhile, she comes into the apartment one day, into his little apartment, and opens the fridge and finds this like alien looking squishy
fetal looking thing.
Yeah, and it's like gurgling.
It looks cool.
You can tell that he's been feeding it larvae. But she gets like freaked out and she puts it back. Like you can see through its skin. You're right. Like it doesn't look.
Yeah.
It's not formed. And eventually she asks him about it, and he tells her that it is a
like a Hisai or some shit.
He calls it a it's like HIISIT. He keeps saying that word and she's like, what the fuck is that? And he basically says it's an what's the word?
It's like an unfertilized
egg.
Little troll baby.
He calls it an egg.
It's very malleable, but it won't survive for that long, but it doesn't require much apparently.
He thinks people are the worst people in the world.
People are the worst people in the world, for sure.
People are evil. All people are evil. Humans are evil. And, trolls are...
Well, we discover this because they're moving the suspect who can give the information to the guy who's hustling these things. And suddenly he appears, pulls this dude out the back of a police truck and bashes his head in the road and takes off.
And immediately I did think, oh God, did he know that man? But then secondarily I was like, maybe that man just stunk so bad of evil that he had to kill him. And that was me trying to make him be okay.
Make him be like a hero.
But he's so not.
No, he's not.
He's not at all. But the crazy part is that he does try to justify it. So basically what he tells her is she asks what happens with these unfertilized egg babies, and he goes, have you ever heard of a changeling?
Changelings are a old folklore thing in Europe, especially in Scandinavia. Troll stories, fairy stories, this is like their Kama Sutra. This is the stories that they tell to get off over there.
They do talk about fairies in
they
this
love this shit. If you go visit over there, they'll be like, there's gnomes in that hill, and they'll look at you to see what you'll think about that, right? They love that shit. The concept of a changeling is that your baby has been replaced by some kind of fairy, some kind of
impish being. Can be sometimes.
And it looks like there's something wrong with your baby, but really your baby has been replaced by something. So what he's doing is taking these unfertile, weird troll squishies. Which
he says come out of him regularly.
Form them to where they look kind of like sick versions of these babies, and he's kidnapping these babies.
And selling
them. And apparently this was a problem in old world Ireland where mothers would think that they're also mental disorders, maybe some postpartum depression or something.
Oh, for sure. And some of the babies could have actually been sick.
Old world shit where mothers would think that their children were changelings and then would stop taking care of them or worse, kill them. It was actually
Didn't sometimes get left in the woods and stuff?
We're
returning them from whence they came. Bullshit.
Some sad old shit.
Yeah.
But basically, he's replacing actual babies with his little infertile changelings, and he's giving the babies to a pedophile ring. He's providing babies to a pedophile ring because his justification is I don't give a fuck. It's humans hurting humans.
And she's that's evil.
And if they're going to be monsters, I'll help them be monsters. And obviously she's torn.
And that's how he makes his money.
Like Natalie Imbruglia. Well, she's not that torn.
No, she's not torn. And immediately she's
Natalie Imbruglia is torn, but she's not.
He does it to her next door neighbor.
Yeah.
He takes her next door neighbor's baby, and it's that's when she puts it all together. Is so she's seen that baby. He's told her about the changelings. She knows that's happening. That man has gotten killed. There's a police car in front of her neighbor's house. She goes in, and the woman is like, I was only gone for a second. And you look at this baby, and it looks like something's
it's
wrong.
having an allergic reaction or something.
Yeah. It's misshapen. Its head is misshapen, but it's wearing that baby's clothes and in that baby's bed. And she's like, I just went out to check the mail. And then I came back, and this was, I don't know what's happening. And she immediately...
She knows what's going on. And Vori sets up, leaves a note to say...
Because he's cleared out.
If you want to get away from here, come meet me on this ferry. And she does meet him on the ferry and confronts him about the bad things he's doing. He doesn't give a fuck, but it's also a setup for the police to come get him. So they get him and they handcuff him, but then he throws himself off the ferry into the water. I thought he'd break the cuffs, like they were going to be strong or something.
Yeah.
But she dumps into the water, and it seems like that's that. And then she goes back to her property, and, she's also confronts her father for being a liar. And apparently we get these stories of trolls, including Vori's parents, were tortured in some facility.
In the 70s, there was apparently quite a few of them.
Apparently that's what happened to her parents too. it was alluding that they were doing mass experiments on these trolls, and she even finds a graveyard that's just marked with stone, and
it was a lot of stones.
And it seems like a hard thing to keep under wraps, especially if some troll people are still walking around. So she goes to her little guest house. She sees a trunk there that is left there and wrapped up. And then she brings the trunk in and opens it up. It's an actual fertilized, like, actual troll baby.
With a little tail.
She definitely impregnated Vori. And she's thinking about Finland because supposedly there's, like, a group there that she can track down. So it's kind of like the end of it. But she might find him there as well, you know?
Well, I don't know, because he does talk about how he says that there is a group in Finland.
But they move around.
But they move around and they have to find you. You don't find them. And he goes, maybe one day I'll let them find me. And that to me was like, he might retire one day. Right now, he's a loner asshole kidnapping babies on his own. But I do think that's kind of the implication, is that she and this baby are going to go and like find their people. She's already like stopped working. She's just like foraging in the woods for her bugs. She feeds the baby like a cricket.
Yeah.
And it stops crying. And listen, I know we had a conversation about Catman babies.
Troll babies. I was so glad we got to see the troll babies.
It had little hairs on its face. It was so cute.
It was cute. It was very cute.
And I was very happy for her because, you know, she said at the beginning that she could never have children. And you could tell when she was with her best friend or her neighbor's baby that she had like a yearning.
Yeah.
And with all the makeup on and the prosthetics and everything, I really do feel like she was still able to emote like so much. It felt very natural. Like I said, there was never a time where I was like, oh, this makeup doesn't look right. That's not her face. You know, it was really good.
It's just a display of vulnerability, isolation, emotional solitude. But yeah, not a bad movie. It's definitely not as good as Lindqvist's other adapted movie.
No, it's not. And I was very sad that it went the way that it went. I don't know what I expected it to be, but I didn't expect it to be a subplot of busting a pedophile ring.
Yeah, it really changes things.
I really wanted it to be more of this woman's never known who she is. She finds herself. She gets to be in love. She goes to Finland. Like, it ended up being way more upsetting and disturbing than I thought.
I wonder if all of Lindqvist's novels have scarred children and pedophiles in them. That's what I'm wondering. Because we got 2 stories involving both. Interesting. But yes, Border. I thought it was pretty good. We're going to give it 1 through 5 each combined for best out of 10. And then we're going to randomly select another movie. Mm-hmm. I'll rate it first. I felt like there was maybe the story overall is interesting. It is kind of like a cool concept. I felt like there was a little bit of drag for me. Mm-hmm. But then it's just like the story itself is just, it's a lot scuzzier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. That's what totally.
And Roland. But shout out to Roland, my boy Roland out there. Making it work, right? With his dogs. Good old Roland. I want a spin-off of Roland, like a mini-series. What's he doing? How many more dogs does he have now? Anyway, I'm going to give it a 3.5.
I am going to give it a 3.25.
So that is a
6.75.
6.75. It shares its ranking with Everything Everywhere All at Once and Hotel Transylvania. Those are our only other 2 6.75s. That's it. Border, the film Border, 6.75. But now it is time to randomly generate another movie. Now, March.
Isn't this February?
Right, it's February. I said
I think you said March at the beginning.
Yes, I did, but that is incorrect. It's February. But March is going to be crammed up with classic film noir all month long. But the following month, we'll be re-examining comedies in April again. Specifically comedies that flopped. That we were, especially in our lifetime, the ones So that'll be a lot of fun. So I think we should randomly generate a comedy.
Okay.
So it can kind of fit in a little bit with that month, right?
I like this new approach.
All right, so pop that window up. Here we go. All right, I'm going to select the comedy genre. Put the quantity down to 1, though it always gives a couple. And now I'm going to hit this generate button. Now,
Nervous.
There's a little soft rule that, like, say if it's like
Tammy.
Scary Movie 2, then we should maybe just revert to the first one if we haven't seen it, right?
Oh, sure. So
I'm going to hit generate. Here we go.
No. Did we get Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Road Chip. It's the sequel. That's just a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Let's hit this button again.
Okay.
Come on. Fell right into a Clifford the Big Red Dog scenario.
I know.
All right, let's try again.
Okay.
Oh, there's a movie with Zach Braff in it and Kate Hudson. Wish I Was Here, 2014.
I bet that was a flop.
Jim Parsons is in it. Mandy Patinkin's in it.
Okay.
Let's do this one.
Okay.
Wish I Was Here, starring Zach Braff. It's just going to have to do. No way. Never heard of this. So this is definitely a flop.
Definitely a flop. This is a good 10 years after Garden State.
Right. Check the show notes for links, other places to find us. We're not going to get to Wish I Was Here 2014 until April, but that's what's going to be next for randomly generated movie reviews. So check the links in our show notes for other places to find us. Leave a comment, correction, any fun facts. Have you read all of Lindqvist's books? Break down how much pedophilia is in the rest of them. We want to know. We don't want to know, but we're just
curious if it's a theme on more than 2 films. Moot books.
Yeah, so it's a dramatic month and we sign off. And what is our dramatic sign off this month?
Watch your back.